Okay, for the second part, 6b, this question is about arc length and sector area. Before I do the question itself, let me recap with you some formulas for arc length and sector area. Okay, now let's take a look at this diagram over here. That is a sector. Now this sector, this part here, the length of this curvature here is called arc length. How do we calculate the arc length? We take the unknown angle, divide by 360 degrees, and we multiply it by 2 pi r. That is the formula for arc length. To get the sector area, we use the same theta over 360, but instead of multiplying by 2 pi r, we multiply by pi r squared. If you notice, 2 pi r is actually the circumference of a circle. So we are just taking a part of the entire length of a circle. Pi r squared is the area of a circle. So we are just taking a part of the area of a circle. The next is we need to recap on what is degrees and what is radians. Now, degree and radians actually mean the same thing, except that they are of different units. So 180 degrees is actually pi radians. It's actually pi radians. And 360 degrees is actually 2 pi radians. Now, if you were to substitute that into the formula here, instead of writing 360, I write 2 pi. It multiplied by 2 pi r. I'm going to start to cancel away the 2 pi. And you will realize that arc length is actually r theta. But in this case, the theta is in radians. This formula, the theta is in degrees. Right, so you need to be able to differentiate. Let's do the same for sector area. So theta over 2 pi pi r squared. If I were to cancel the pi away, I'm left with theta over 2 times r squared. In the formula sheet, they write it as half r squared theta, which is the same thing. Again, this formula, this part here is radians. This formula here is for degrees. You need to be able to differentiate this. What you need to remember, the formula, this formula is for degrees. The yellow color formula, if your angle is in degrees, and the blue color highlighted, if your angle is in radians. Alright, now with this information, we can now do this question. They said two identical screen wiper OAs and PC are pivoted at points O and P respectively. They sweep left to right. Okay, that's just screen wipers from the car. Now they said the parameter of sector OAB is 60 plus 25 pi. So I'm going to draw out OAB. This is OAB. This is 30. This is 30. And this angle we need to find. I will call it theta. And the parameter of the sector is 60 plus 25. Parameter means the whole entire length is 60 plus 25 pi. If the radius are 30, that would be 30 plus 30, which is 60, which means the length of the arc here is 25 pi. Using the formula, if you notice, the units is radians, so I must use the formula for radians. Now, the formula for radians for arc length is equals to r theta, radius times theta. So the arc length is 25 pi equals to the radius is 30 multiplied by the unknown angle. One step unknown angle is 25 pi over 30. If I were to simplify it, I get 5 pi over 6 radians. Done. Calculate the area covered by the two screen wipers. Now the two screen wipers cover the same area. So it's basically one step. 2 times of half r squared theta. R is 30 square and the theta is in radians, 5 pi over 6. 2 times of that. Okay, 2 and half cancel away. You can leave your answer in pi. And you will get 750 pi. Cm squared. Now the last part is the most difficult part, where they ask you to calculate the value of x, which is this little part here, this x here. How do we do that? Is we draw a right angle triangle from here down. As long as we can find the distance here, we can multiply by 2 to find the value of x. But how do we do that? Let's fill in some information. Now we know that the radius of this sector is 30, and we know that the angle here is 5 pi over 6. Can we find the angle over here, BOC? Yes, we can. We take 180 degrees minus 5 pi over 6. But 180 degrees in radians is pi, like what we discussed just now. Okay, so angle BOC, instead of writing 180 degrees, is 1 pi, just 1 pi, minus 5 pi over 6. And that will give us pi over 6. So this angle here is pi over 6. If the angle, using this as a reference angle, this will be opposite, this will be adjacent, 30 will be hypotenuse. Now, we're not interested in finding opposite, so we want to find adjacent and hypotenuse. So, tua, ka, and so, I would use cosine, ka, C-A-H. So, cosine of the angle pi over 6 is equals to adjacent over the hypotenuse, which is 30. To get the adjacent, I just take 30 multiplied by cosine pi over 6. And if you take 30 times cosine, I get 25.9807. To get the value of x, I just need to multiply that by 2. 25.9807 times 2. And I get 51.9615. Change it to 3 significant figures, 52.0. 52.0 cm. And that's all we have for question number 6. It's a long question, but I hope you can remember how to do arc length sector area.